Today we're going to talk about solving equations. The first type of equation we're going to look at is a polynomial. Remember that polynomials have non-negative exponents, no radical signs, no absolute value bars, and no variables in the denominator. When you go to solve a polynomial, the first thing you need to do is set it equal to 0. So I'm going to take this equation and add 4x to both sides and subtract 16 from both sides. Now, I'm going to use the PolyRootFinder app. So I'm going to click Apps, choose number 4, which is PolySimult2, and then choose the first option, which is PolyRootFinder. So Apps, PolySimult2, and then number 1, Polynomial Root Finder. Remember that order is the degree, which is the highest exponent, which in this case is 2. You always want to have your calculator in A plus BI mode. That way it'll give you any complex roots that you might find. And you can either have it in fraction or decimal mode, it doesn't matter. Click Graph to go to the next screen, and then type in the coefficients, and make sure that the equation is in standard form. So I'm going to type 1, because that's the leading coefficient, 4, and then negative 16. Make sure you pay attention to the signs because that's very important. And then I click Graph to solve. Now, this gives me 2 decimals. None of my answer choices are decimals, but a lot of them have square roots. The calculator does not give its answers in square root form, so we're going to have to figure out which of these square roots matches those decimals. So I'm going to jot these answers down. So I have negative 6.47 and 2.47. Okay. Now I'm going to click second mode to quit out of the app. I have to do that a couple times. Now, I know that the first answer is not correct because obviously that's not plus or minus 4. And I didn't have an I in either of these answers, so it's not those two that have I. So now I'm going to type in 2 plus 2 square root of 5 and see if it gives me one of these answers. That gives me positive 6.47. I need negative, so that's not going to work. So let's try the last answer choice, negative 2 plus 2 square root of 5. Okay, that gives me 2.47. And let's just double check that negative 2 minus 2 square root of 5 gives me negative 6.47. And it does. So that's my answer. Negative 2 plus or minus 2 square root of 5. Now, if we have any other type of equation, we cannot use the app because that's only for polynomials. So if we have radicals, absolute values, or variables in the denominator, we have to use a different method. So I'm going to go to y equals, type one side of the equation into y1 and the other side into y2. So I'm going to type this into y1 and this into y2. Y equals. Now, when you go to type a fraction in, type alpha y equals, enter, and that'll bring up a fraction for you to type in. Okay, and then we have another fraction. Okay, then go down to y2 and type in the other side of the equation. Now I'm going to click Graph, and I'm interested in where these two graphs intersect, which you can see is right about here. So to find exactly what that point is, I'm going to do second, calc, which is right above trace, and then select number 5, which is intersection. So second, trace, intersect, enter, enter, enter. Now at the bottom it says the intersection is the point 6, 1.3, which is 4/3. Okay? Now I'm only interested in the x value. So that x value is my solution, which is choice D. Another way to do this problem, or to double check your answer if you're not confident, is to use the store button. So I'm pretty sure that 6 is the right answer, so I'm going to store 6 for x. Then type in the left side of the equation, fraction 5/3 minus fraction 2 over x, and I get the answer 4/3. So now I'm going to type in the other side of the equation and see if that also gives me 4/3. And it does. So 6 is the correct answer.